not as bad as it looks. No, you know, I had kind of a shitty week, I'm not gonna lie. I've been kind of stressed, I've been kind of depressed all week long, and, you know. Don't get me wrong. It's not because that asshole Hal left, I can give a shit about him, you know. It's just, I went on Twitter the other day, and, you know, I'm a couple episodes behind on the show. You know, I spent a lot of time editing YouTube shows, so, you know, it takes me a while to get caught up on what's... Anyways, you know, fucking... I got spoiled, okay? I got spoiled. I went on Twitter and there were spoilers. There were spoilers of an episode of some major editing that's going to happen with Arseface later on, and they got spoiled. I know I was stupid for going on Twitter at all in the first place. Like, why would I go on Twitter? I know that it's going to be spoilers. Like, I checked the wrong hashtags. I wanted to promote the show, you know? I went on there trying to get some people to watch. I don't know what I'm fucking doing myself at this point. I don't know what to fucking do. You know, it seems like there's no light at the end of this tunnel anyway. The show fucking sucks. So, I smoked all my video games. I got no video games. I smoked all my fucking video games. Except for Dark Souls. I could never hurt you, Dark Souls. So in the meantime, you know, desperate times call for desperate measures. I found this old mind control ray that I had in storage in the basement, and, you know, I've been repurposing it. I want to try and get it to simulate the effects of different drugs, you know. So far, I can make you hallucinate. I don't really want to do that right now. Like, I'm not really in a good place for that kind of thing, you know. But I want it to be, you know, like alcohol, you know. Cause I just want to make me feel like so numb that I'm, you know, completely dead inside. And, you know, alcohol is the best. I mean, accept no substitutes when it comes to that, you know. I don't know why I care. The show sucks anyways. It's such a disappointment, you know. I always wanted it to be like shot for shot, you know, like the Sin City movie or something like that, where it's like super faithful. Or like Watchmen was so close to the original comic, you know, they barely left anything important out, or they, you know, they changed the ending a lot. But and to top it all up, you know, I mean, I don't like Hal. I'm not upset that he's gone, but at the same time, I have to do the whole show by myself now, you know. At first, that was always the plan, but then I kind of got used to the idea of having a partner, and now it's like straight ditch, you know, straight bailed on, man. It's like, it's fucking assholes, who cares? I don't know, honestly, I don't really even feel like doing a show this week. I guess I gotta watch it. Just thinking what I could do is I could, you know, just like put a little thing up in there on the screen, and it'll play just the whole episode the whole time, and I don't have to just, I can just like, huh, oh shit, and you know, then I can have a whole show that way. But you know, I guess I still have some scraps of dignity left. I guess I still want to be able to look at myself in the mirror occasionally. I don't know why. I guess it helps me sleep at night if I don't have to scrape the absolute bottom of the worst barrel, you know. I haven't given up completely on life, you know. Alright, so I guess there's really nothing left to do but watch Preacher on AMC and do a review. Forgive me if I don't do like a whole big music video for like the opening this week. I don't really feel like it. Oh. Oh. Oh God! All right, so this was a slow episode. We got a whole lot of nothing this week. You know, we got a lot of flashbacks, a lot of foreshadowing, a lot of exposition. They're trying to make it seem mysterious, but I'm not buying any mystery. I just see them kind of dragging shit out because, you know, again, they want to get as many episodes as possible. And the story of the comic isn't like fucking 20 years long, you know? It's only going to take, you know, a few years worth of shows to get it done. Like, they might not make 5 years worth of shows. I think that's what they're afraid of. They said that without a lot going on, there's still some pretty major character and plot divergences going on. So I'll be talking about those later on. But what I want to address real quick and just get it out of the way is let's talk a little bit about this whole pacing issue I brought up last time. So the show is staying in Anvil. They're introducing new characters. They're retelling everything in a way that they can stretch out the story. This reminds me of what happened with The Walking Dead and what happens on Game of Thrones sometimes, where there's just nothing going on for 3 or 4 or 5 episodes out of every season. It's just like a whole bunch of just dialogue that doesn't really serve the plot, a whole bunch of stuff that's supposed to establish character, but the characters are all archetypes anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. Preacher's characters so far aren't that bad. Tulip's getting a little one note for me. Like, Tulip's not really as they're giving you a little bit of the idea that Tulip's got a more complicated backstory. They're giving you a little bit of the idea that Tulip and Jesse are going to have some conflict if they do get back together. But really, the way that they have Tulip chasing Jesse, none of it makes any sense. Well, but then again, that gets to the whole Jesse staying in Anvil thing. So you know what? Let's get into that. Let's get in again to one more time. Jesus Christ. Let's get into what I like to call Preacher Anvil Special Victims Unit. So again this week, we've got Jesse bound and determined to stay in Anvil and help the population with all their stupid Peckerwood redneck bullshit problems, right? You've got this ridiculous soccer mom character who's just there again to pad runtime, just somebody else for the characters to talk to and bounce their fucking dialogue off of so that you can't have Jesse and Tulip and Cassidy together all the time, since they're not in a car together traveling all the time like they are for large chunks of the comic, you know. You've got the comatose, vegetative state girl with the big fucking divot in her head, who I'm pretty sure is related to Arseface, and that's why they have Arseface and Hugo Root talking about her, and that's why everybody called Arseface murderer in the last episode. So there's that little story thread there, and I have a feeling that means, you know, that's connected to Arseface, and somehow Arseface is responsible not only for his own disfigurement, but for fucking up this girl, and it's probably all to do with his suicide. I'm sure that'll, you know, be cleared up as well. But yeah, Hugo Root, dude, what a nice guy. Like, he's looking out for his son. He's telling him, oh, those people won't understand and things like that. Instead of telling him, fuck you, I hate you, like he does in the comics. You know, passionate father, Hugo Root. This guy who tells the angels the story of, you know, this guy that sold pretzels was the real asshole. Nobody saw it coming. But meanwhile, it's like Jesse already fucked up the bus driver. Like, we've already established this, like, you never know who the villains are. And in this episode, they parallel 2 villains so closely that there's kind of no difference in their character motivations yet, as far as anybody who hasn't read anything or knows what's going to happen is concerned. But it's like, they're making 2 of the villains way too alike. But I'll get back to that. I'm way off topic. I'm still bitching about Anvil. So I've done bitching about the soccer mom for this portion of this week's show. I'm going to have to figure out some way for me to just go, I hate the fucking soccer mom in every single episode because she's such a useless, pathetic, horrible, stupid, worthless, empty, meaningless, stupid, shitty fucking character. So let's talk about Donnie. Donnie is the daddy that, you know, beats on his wife because she likes it, and he says he's going to beat up the son, and so Jesse beats him up. They give Donnie a small moment of redemption this week because they have a moment where Donnie takes his son aside, and you think he's going to whoop him for telling the preacher, but instead he tries to explain to him that, well, he doesn't try to explain to him anything. They make it seem like he's going to try to explain what's going on between him and his mom, but then the show cops out because it's not very funny or daring at all. So what they do is, instead of having Donnie explain to his son in any way, shape, or form that the physical violence or whatever weird shit he hears going on in his parents' bedroom is of a sexual nature, and his mom gets off on it, you know, they're afraid to really mention that. They just go with, you know, the old, son, grown-ups are complicated, which is a total cop-out. I mean, it's not like they can just have him say, well, son, your mother can't come unless she can feel, you know, completely worthless and helpless, and as her husband, it is my duty to stand on her face and spank her with a rolled-up coupon circular until she can blast, you know? Because that's what marriage is all about. But they can't do something like that, you know? They got to do this bullshit cop-out, grown-ups are complicated. It's a fucking AMC show. It's on late at night. It's full of violence and guts and fucking horrible shit all the time. You can't talk about S&M. You can't make one joke about S&M. You can reference the fact that a woman might enjoy S&M and that a couple might engage in S&M, but you can't make a joke about it. Fucking pussies, not funny. You pussies suck at your job. That was directed at the writers of Preacher, right? You guys, I'm not telling anybody watching the show a pussy who sucks at their job. I'm just saying the people that write and produce Preacher are pussies that suck at their job. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it's a post-50 Shades world we're living in, people, now. Everybody's getting real fucking kinky now. Everybody's got to have kinks. Like, oh my God, everybody's got to have a fetish. You have to have a fetish. You have to have several fetishes. And I've recently learned that a fetish can be something like kissing someone on the back of the hand. I want to be kissed on the back of the hand is a fetish nowadays, okay? So the word fetish doesn't actually really mean what it used to, apparently. So the show still copped out. The show still copped out. The show still copped out, okay? The show copped out. On so much of this episode was just boring exposition. So much of it was just rehashing stuff that was already in the first 2 episodes, like this whole Tulip chasing Jesse and trying to convince him about the map and the job and Carlos. Whoever the fuck Carlos is, there's some revisionist history for you. It's like, you've got Jesse with his greasy mullet, like standing over some shot security guard. It looked like an episode of Grand Theft Auto fucking 5, you know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong, there's an awesome Grand Theft Auto line in Preacher. Granted, this is way before any of the games came out. We're talking late 90s, right? Where it's in the salvation part of the story, which is one of the best stories. And this young woman that is Jesse's out shooting guns with sees how good he is with a firearm and asks him if he has any experience in law enforcement. And Jesse Custer, being the roguish Han Solo motherfucker that he is, Jesse Custer says, Grand Theft Auto, never got caught. Gotta fucking love that shit, right? You gotta fucking love that shit. Jesse Custer's such a pimp. Jesse Custer's a fucking pimp. But not in this show. In this show, he's like, I just want to do good by the Lord for the people to stand up for my preacher daddy. Which is not the comic, but we've discussed that. The show's not the comic. That's what I'm discussing. Oh! And again with Donnie. Again, so much Donnie in this episode. So much fucking Donnie in this episode, right? Because he's Quinn Cannon's little bitch, and Quinn Cannon treats him like shit while Quinn Cannon listens to animals getting slaughtered, blah, blah, blah. Donnie name drops Miss Oatlash, so Miss Oatlash is going to show up. But there's even more Donnie later on, because, okay, this is what I'm going to call bad booking, all right? Now, again, if you're not a wrestling fan, you're fucking up. But if you're not a wrestling fan and you don't know what I'm talking about when I say booking, all right? So booking is the way that a wrestling show is planned out, all right? It's about what storylines are going to happen, what matches are going to happen, how they're going to happen, who's going to win them, so that you can advance the greater story of the program, right? So in this episode, you've got some really shitty booking, because you've got, again, something I'm going to talk about with 2 villains. Well, let's just get it out of the way right now, okay? So you've got 2 villains, Odin Quinn Cannon, and they introduce in this Hair Star. You barely see any of Hair Star, but you hear about the Grail Incorporated or Grail Industries or whatever. And you see the fucking Danny lady that Tulip and Jesse apparently have always worked for, who apparently secretly works for the Grail and works for Hair Star, is already in America, which is, you know, we're diverging from the comics anyways. So yeah, when she meets Hair Star, you know, Danny meets Hair Star. Danny goes to meet Hair Star, excuse me. When Danny goes to meet Hair Star, he's sitting in a room with a bunch of other people watching something or someone get tortured on a projector. I'm thinking it's probably a Sarathi Angel, because that's in the books, but, you know, that's a spoiler. Whoops-a-daisy. And that's a belch, but, you know, what am I supposed to fucking do, right? So, yeah, they've got Hair Star watching torture, and then you've got Odin Quinn Cannon listening to the slaughterhouse. So you've got writers telling you the way you can tell these 2 characters are evil is because they both enjoy torture, death, and suffering. Blah, blah, blah. You don't want to portray your villains as having the same motivations in life, but different ultimate goals. You want your villains to be as complicated as the rest of your characters. You know, and Odin Quinn Cannon in this show is so understated. He's dark and sinister in a way that he shouldn't be. He should be much more cartoonish. He has a real Napoleon complex, you know? He hates being short. He hates that he grew up poor. And all those things are what really drives Odin Quinn Cannon. And you're not getting any of this so far. You're just seeing him as like a ruthless business tycoon type guy. And so whatever. Fuck you, Jackie Earl Haley. I mean, like, good job as Rorschach. I didn't watch Nightmare on Elm Street. But the way you're playing Quinn Cannon so far is shit balls. I'm really wondering if this is one of those shows where the directors and the writers told everyone on the show, don't read the source material. Don't read the source material. Like with, you know, the original X-Men movies, the Bryan Singer X-Men shit movies. Don't read the source material, because we don't want you to do a good job. We want you to do our shitty script and pretend it's okay. Ugh, it's fucking ridiculous. So yeah, fuck you, Jackie Earl Haley, for your boring-ass Odin Quinn Cannon portrayal. You suck! But yeah, so back to the bad booking for Cody. Jesse is driving down a barren street in the middle of fucking nowhere part of Anvil, crosses paths with Tulip. Tulip picks him up. They go somewhere else. So he switched vehicles in the middle of nowhere. So if this dude was fucking following him, he's real good at following people on an empty road where nobody's there for miles. He can follow them somehow. And then he knows where they're going because Cody is waiting in the bathroom to get the drop on Jesse Custer at some random stop he made after he switched cars with Tulip, which wasn't a part of his daily routine or anything. So how the fuck did Cody know he was going to be there to get the drop on him? That's bad booking, people. That doesn't make any sense. That's a shitty plot hole. That breaks the fucking immersion. That ruins the fucking illusion. We need suspension of disbelief, idiots. And this inept moron Cody should not be able to get the drop on Jesse Custer by predicting his every fucking move. It's stupid. Why else would he be in a bathroom with a revolver? It's not like he's open carrying the whole show. It makes no fucking sense. Yeah, and then Jesse shows a whole bunch of mercy to him. He makes it seem like he's going to get him to blow his head off, and he scares the shit out of him. And now, obviously, this guy knows about Jesse's powers because he just did everything he fucking says, so that's going to be a whole other wrinkle on the show from now on. But, or maybe it won't. We'll see. The writing's lazy. But, yeah, Jesse just lets him go. Like, he didn't kick his ass or anything. He was so fucking merciful. And again, this is the Jesse Custer of the show that is not the Jesse Custer of the comic. Jesse shows mercy to, like, one character the whole fucking comic, okay? Jesse would beat the shit out of any motherfucker who put a gun in his fucking head. Are you kidding me? He might not kill him. He probably would kill him. He might not, but he would definitely beat the shit out of him, or at least use the word to humiliate him in some way that is way more drastic than this fucking little bullshit that happened here. And Jesse in general, is again my least favorite character on the show. He's the furthest one away from himself. I mean, you could make a really good argument that Tulip is very far, but Jesse it's way too much of a pussy in general. Jesse does not have the self-confidence of Jesse Custer. I guess he does have to gain a little bit of it back after he gets Genesis, but it really doesn't take him that long in the books once he figures out what's going on, once he gets confronted by the angels and the Saint of Killers. So we'll see how that plans out. But right now, this Jesse who can't control Genesis, and it's like overwhelming him, and this Jesse that's scared of his power and doesn't understand it, is not very Jesse. And but then again, Cassidy's not very Cassidy. Yeah, there's a huge whoop with Cassidy. The biggest whoop of the whole fucking day is going to go for Cassidy, and then Cassidy and Jesse in particular. But I'm going to save that for the very end. The whole thing with this episode is Cassidy has gotten rid of the other angels' bodies. You know, he's done that. But now the angels were resurrected already. They met with Hugo Root for some reason, God only knows what. And now they're strapped up. They're ready to get into action. They're heading back to the church to go fuck up Cassidy and fuck up Jesse. And the best joke of the whole show so far, Cassidy runs him right the fuck over with his van as soon as they stand up front. That's brilliant. That's my kind of favorite. That's my kind of preacher humor. There you go, guys. You're hitting the notes well on the jokes. That's the thing the show's got best so far is the sense of humor, especially with Cassidy. The serious parts of the show, they're fucking up. The characters are kind of watered down, but yeah, the humor is pretty fucking dead on the whole show so far. So give big points for the humor, guys. I got to give you your kudos on the humor. But then you have this whole scene with just Cassidy and the angels just start pouring out exposition to Cassidy about about how they're from heaven. They start to say from the government, but then, the other one tells them that they're from heaven. And they are Fiore and DeBlanc, and they are pretty inept and hilarious, so they're much more like the comics in this episode than they were in the last one. And the way that everyone's coming together doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just dragging it out. They're dragging it out. They mentioned the vampire hunters again, so I get to continue to look forward to how shitty and stupid that's going to be. I have anxiety, so when I hear that they want to put vampire hunters in Preacher, that fucks me up for really, really badly. I might miss work because of that shit. You know what I mean? That fucking ruins me. The most actually accurate thing they've done so far in the show, and it's really not from the books, but the way that they use the magic coffee can. Now that's something I can get behind because I'm someone that owns a magic coffee can. I know that coffee cans are really easy to imbue with magic because caffeine is such a great catalyst, and because so many people love coffee, the intention towards all those cans really makes them perfect for infusing with demonic sigils and power. For example, I keep my ancient Babylonian talisman of invisibility and various other trinkets inside my recently created bottomless coffee can of Rush Henrietta. So, everybody's got to have their coffee can, and if you don't have a magic coffee can, what have you been doing with your life? Are you fucking on Pokemon Go? Is that your problem? Stop wasting your time. It's not even a real game. Okay, so I gotta get comfortable. I gotta try and get comfortable. I got a crick in my neck, but I gotta try and get comfortable because this is the biggest whoop. 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 My biggest whoop this week is, okay, so you've got Jesse trying to show Cassidy how his powers work. And he's doing that by using his powers on Cassidy. In the comics, the first time Jesse uses his powers on Cassidy is the first time he sees Cassidy opening somebody up vampire style and drinking his blood. Now, on the show so far, Jesse's got no idea that Cassidy's a vampire. Nobody knows that Cassidy's a vampire. He's managed to keep the vampire thing secret, even though everybody thinks it's kind of weird that he doesn't go outside. At least, you know, soccer mom lady. She's probably going to be the one to figure it out first, the way this fucking show is written. But so, yeah, Jesse's got Cassidy hopping on one foot and boxing really fast. That's how you see Jesse can't control Genesis. But that strikes me about this is, again, we're kind of losing the fundamentals of some of the characters. In the books, when Jesse stops Cassidy from drinking a dude's blood, Cassidy fucking flips out. Cassidy's having none of it. Cassidy's ready to bail on Jesse at that point. Like, Cassidy's like, fuck you, don't ever control me like that. Because Cassidy doesn't like to be controlled. Cassidy is not interested in being controlled by anyone. Cassidy is pure rebelliousness, to the point where it's detrimental to himself and everyone around him. The idea that Cassidy would think it's good fun to be controlled by Jesse is ludicrous. But, you know, it is possible. It is possible that down the line he'll use his power to stop him from drinking blood, and we'll have that moment. I hope we do, because it's good to have conflict between the characters. You shouldn't always be on the same page. Let's be a little more complex, please. People don't have to get along all the time to have close relationships, you know? People don't have to be together all the time to care about each other, you know? It's okay to have a little distance and some space sometimes, you know? Friendships need that, otherwise you'll smother each other and get sick of each other. I mean, you can't be around the same person all the time. It's not fair to expect anyone to be the one person that makes your whole life meaningful or fun or worthwhile or anything, you know? You've got to have your own shit. You've got to have your own shit, and you've got to be able to give someone a break to deal with their own shit. You know, so maybe I was a little too hard on Hal. No, I wasn't too hard on Hal. Hal's a fucking cocksucker. I fucking made Hal. Hal's got no point in getting mad at me. Hal doesn't deserve to get mad at me. You know, fuck no, you know what, no. He is an asshole. You know what? I got soft for a second there. He's a toxic person, you know. He's not someone I need to forgive. He's a pure being of evil and hatred and negativity. Like, literally. Not even figuratively, like, literally made of anger. Literally. I use literally, okay? But at the same time, I can't do everything by myself. I'm never getting out of this funk. This Preacher show depresses me and pisses me off. Hal depresses me and pisses me off. I need to have something in my life that doesn't just depress me and piss me off. And my day job is in customer service. I could try online dating again. I could try going on Tinder. I've had a little bit of success on Tinder. You know, if you call, like, you know, 6-week stands success. It's never gonna work. Where's my gun? Alright. Oh. Let's just see if I can get this baby working. Let me check the sigil craft. Looks good to me. I wasn't exactly able to reprogram a whole mind control gun into a drug gun, you know? I mean, there's some stuff you can do with technology, but you need to use a little bit of magic every once in a while to make shit happen. So I've got my sigils in place. All right, let's just see if this thing is gonna be able to handle this. What about?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Hey, I want to dip my balls in it!
Where's the beef? You see what I have to work with here.